We start by telling you that the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has threatened to embark on nationwide protest over the rising insecurity, poverty and high cost of living crisis in the country. This is as it warned that Nigerian workers would no longer sit idly by while the nation's economy and democracy crumble. NLC, in a communiqué signed by its presidents Joe Ajaero and the General Secretary Emmanuel Ugboaja, said the almost 700,000 lives lost in just a year to insecurity in Nigeria can only happen in nations at war. It also warned that when farmers could not access their lands to farm, famine becomes a looming danger. The Congress condemned what it called the government's failure to secure lives and property and demanded immediate action. To discuss this, we're joined by a rights activist, Victor Ojei. Victor, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, do workers in Nigeria have sufficient institutional mechanisms to challenge poverty and insecurity without having to resort to mass action?
You know, we don't have such a capacity because of we have a weak NLC leadership that always come late to the table. Yes, we have insecurity crisis in Nigeria. We have a lot of challenges going on, but the question you should ask the leadership of the NLC is, have they engaged the civil society community and the NGOs in Nigeria genuinely? Have they engaged with think tanks that will engage with the lawmakers during the time of policy making? Have they ever presented any agro-ranger policy that will protect these farmers that they are not claiming that they are advocating for? Have their advocacy been consistent? During the era of autumn, the governor of Benue State, not less than 3,000 farmers lost their lives. The NLC never issued a press statement to address that issue. As I speak to you, many communities in Zamfara, Nasarawa, Kaduna, Jos Plateau, they are no longer having any residents in that community. These communities are now ghost communities. What has the NLC done? Are we not aware that during the time when Ajaero, the NLC leader, daughter got married lately, few months ago, was Hope Uzodinma not present there, a politician, the governor of Imo State, the same governor you accused that he molested you while you went for a protest at Owerri? You are now, look, the truth is that the NLC has failed the Nigerian workers. Okay, tell us if the NLC has ever advocated for the civil rights of the civil servant. Are we not all aware that on a monthly basis that not less than a particular percentage of amount, not less than 2.5% is deducted from the Nigerian worker's salary? And after 35 years, or when you are 60 years old, when you retire, those funds were meant for housing. No civil servant has been handed over any house. What has the NLC done on that? What about charges that have been deducted from the civil servant, whether federal, state, or local government workers' monthly salary, that the NLC pay as you earn, that the NLC never made use of or implemented? Is there any such program as refund, tax refund, like we see in United States, like we see in UK and other climes? The NLC are just playing emotional blackmail. Okay. Let it not be as if they are not there. Now, they just Victor, want to distract Nigerians. So please, NLC should stop that ideology of protesting or going on strike.
Okay, so
they should
now,
engage
Victor,
more on ideas that we can use to tackle these shortcomings from the government, the federal government, the state government, at all levels.
Okay, so Victor, now if you are accusing the NLC of being negligent and docile and advocating for the rights of the people, and we have a government that, according to how you painted it, it's paying lip service to tackling insecurity, who will Nigerians, or who should Nigerians now turn to for reprieve or solution?
Look, the NLC should wake up. If what they claim is that they want to advocate for the Nigerian farmers, they should be able to put up an agro-ranger policy that will be that they need to get a lawmaker that will sponsor this bill that will provide for protection of farmers. That is what they should do. They should engage more with civil society. How many radio jingles, how many TV adverts have you seen the NLC funded to educate and enlighten the Nigerian workers on their rights? Currently, a staff of a federal government staff here in the FCT has been accused of leaking a document that has to do with accusation of the FCT minister allocating land to his children. What has the NLC done to advocate for the rights of that civil servant who has a right to whistleblowing? What have they done? What provision? The provisions that protect the Nigerian worker, the public service rule. What has the NLC done to ensure that it's being implemented to protect these civil servants? What about other states that a lot of civil servants have issues? What has the NLC done? The NLC should please stop distracting Nigerians. We know Nigerians don't have trust in them anymore. We have lost hope in the NLC of Nigeria. That is a fact. Because we need result-oriented advocacies. We need solutions to our problem, not protests. Since all the protests that Ajaero has been organizing, to what end? What has he achieved that we say has affected the life of the common civil servant?
So many valid questions. So many valid questions, Victor, that you're asking. Now, for the state, is there a way that the government can balance how it addresses this whistleblowing and issues around rights, citizens' rights to protest, and having to also deal with security? Basically, what should be the role of the government, most especially as it concerns the rights of the people?
You know, we have a draconian administration ongoing. Our president is high-handed, of which, will I say fortunately or unfortunately, I used to be a fan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because I followed him right from the late 90s. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu advocated for land matters, physical planning, beautification, local government elections. A lot of policies that Nigerians enjoy today in Nigeria, many of them never knew that it was Osibanjo as the Attorney General of Lagos State, while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State. That was when he facilitated these policies that are people-oriented. He was the first governor to set up an IPP that President Olusegun Obasanjo tackled him that power generation, electricity was on an exclusive list. I expected so much from him. I am a member of PDP, funny enough, as a socio-political activist. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu was someone that I admired so much. But coming on board, instead of him to tackle power generation, because any nation that wants to progress must focus on power generation. After power generation, you focus on industrialization that will create jobs, that will address the social dimension of crime control, that will address criminality, control of crime, without focusing on the architecture of security by way of gun, grenade, armor tank, bulletproof vest. No, we should think of alternative means of addressing insecurity.
Okay.
One of the things or factors that is driving insecurity in Nigeria currently is lack of job, is unemployment, the youth are idle. Use of drug now comes in. Social vices now comes in because of what? An idle man is devil's workshop. So what is the presidency doing? President Tinubu was supposed to ensure that he puts professionals on the front seat while politicians will take the back seat. Let's look, had it been we have politicians, professionals, and professionals that are handling every sector in every parastatal at the federal level by way of ministers, you will see that we would have good results.
So basically what you're saying, Victor, is that there's a lot, basically what you're saying is that there's a lot on the table of the government, but then the sincerity of purpose to actually right these wrongs and bring up these solutions is what is missing. But then thank you so much, Victor Ojei, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news. We appreciate that.